Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
We just watched The Ring. We just got done watching The Ring, and that's what we're going to be covering today.
I gotta say, so this is like the first time that you were like, you didn't talk at all. Zach had like nothing to say during it.
I was taking notes galore. I had a lot to write down about this one. This was one of those movies that I remember where I was, like how old I was, when I saw it, the moment I saw it, the exact emotions. Like, this movie scared the fuck out of me when I first watched it.
Do you remember? I feel like back in the day, I think I said this before we watched, but I felt like there was a lot of people that were like snobby about it. Because it was like PG and there wasn't really like it is a slow burn movie. But I wrote this in my notes, I feel like it was like A24 before A24, like A24 horror existed.
It did feel like an A24, didn't it?
Right? It has like the Hereditary vibe of like you're like you're like fuck even when
Yeah.
nothing bad's happening. It's just like the like vibe and atmosphere and aesthetic like makes you feel uneasy.
I feel like, so it's PG-13. I'm surprised it's PG-13 because I feel like the terror it kind of
It's there.
inspires is like rated R. I thought that was a rated R movie my whole life. I remember, so when I was younger, we lived on this cul-de-sac called Ragland Court, and there was a guy down the street. He always got everybody really cool shit, and so he got one year, all of the adults on our cul-de-sac. He got all of them, like, because we all had DirecTV, so he got them like a little card that we would slide into the back of the DirecTV box. If anybody knows what this is called, I have no idea, but it like unlocked the entire DirecTV for us. So we had all of the channels, all of the movies, like everything was free. We didn't have to pay-per-view anything. Everything was free. So The Ring had just come out at that time, and I remember my friends and I my friends came over one. I feel like it was during the day. My memory says during the day, but this might have been one of the rewatches we did because we watched it like we watched it. We must have watched it 10 times. And I remember us like cowering on my couch, all underneath. Like, we got as into the sofa cushions as we could watching this fucking movie. And let me tell you, when she came out of the fucking TV, lost our shit, had to turn it off. We were like not able to do this. Some of my friends went home. They were too young to watch this. They couldn't handle it, and we finished up the movie later. But this really like is one of those that every time I watch it still gives me chills.
Yeah, like yes. I just like I still get like chills for like that last end of the movie and
Hmm.
like I guess I never really noticed that like she does hear Samara say like, but I do when he's like, you don't want to hurt people. Like she says, but I do, but it's the context that's different, right?
Yeah,
Because when
yeah,
she's watching it, she thinks she's saying like, but I do and I can't help it. But she's saying, but I want to do it, so I
yeah.
do. Right? And
And I
like,
think, yeah, and I think that's what I find just so great about this is that the villain, as much as this mother Rachel is wanting this little girl to be just a little girl who is wronged, Samar's the devil. Samar's the
yeah,
devil spawn. She's just fucking evil, and she probably hides the remote. Like they say in Scary Movie 3. I could not stop seeing Scary Movie 3 while we were watching this.
I I couldn't remember which scary movie it was
Yeah.
that has the ring. I couldn't remember if it was the first one or like whichever one. But yeah, I always like watching that opening. I was like, all right, Jenny McCarthy's not in this opening. That's scary
No,
movie.
no, this is not that one. But it is like there's so many moments that just make me think of Scary Movie 3 that I could not help myself. I couldn't help myself just while we were watching it. This movie it came out at a time where was this the one that started really leading the pack
Yeah.
of
It was the first it was the
Japanese
first
to
it was the first J horror remake.
okay.
And it did so well. And then it led to like a bazillion others. None of them were ever as good, I don't think.
Hmm.
Like The Grudge is I mean, it has our girl in it, so I like can't, but it's The Grudge is pretty The
Yeah.
Grudge gets the like mundane, but it doesn't get the terror.
'Cause I remember watching Ringu like a long, long time ago. It must have been like right after this one. I think I bought it at Suncoast in the mall. And I went home and watched it, and I was just it wasn't that different, but it was, I don't know,
It's
this
just
one just had like a polish to it that I really enjoyed.
well, and the thing And I mean, this could just be like we're like dumb Americans, right? Like it's
Of course we
different.
are. That's what we are.
Like and like but yeah, I think I remember watching the original thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like scarier because the other one was a remake. So the original's gotta be like crazier and scarier. And I remember like being like, oh, eh. Like
Yeah.
it felt very, very low budget. It was like very low budget with trying to get the creepiness, but like
Mm.
it just never got there. And they explained a little too much of Samara.
Really? In that one? I thought they explained more of Samara in this one than they did in that one.
Well, because they show that they show more of the therapy stuff and they like
Mm.
explain that. And like we see
Yeah.
more of just like her. I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
remember there's a scene where she's like on a stage and she points to someone.
I don't remember that.
It was so
I might have
weird.
to do. We might have to do a rewatch of that one too. I just remember. I think this was from my Wikipedia notes. So this went into production even without a script. Like somebody saw it and wanted to go like directly into it, and it was offered to David Lynch.
Which is funny because this time around I was thinking this has like a David Lynch vibe, and I couldn't decide if it
Yeah.
was because Naomi Watts is in Mulholland Drive and he did that, or like, and she's in the Twin Peaks Revival, or like it's like this feels like something he could do, but he would have made it too weird, and it would have been like
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it would have been like too much. Because he tends to need someone to be like, you're doing too much. And he doesn't have someone who says that. Um, but I could see a version of this done by him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. This movie's just like, it's weird that it does still hold up. Like, it's not as scary, but it still is like the way you and I talk about that opening with Drew Barrymore, how like, even if you're not like, we even know already knowing it happens, she still sells it so well. And I
Yeah.
feel like this movie is kind of like that, where it's like, even though we kind of know and we're not like scared, it still sells it, right?
I think I would. I don't know if this is a controversial take or not, but I feel like I would be more scared watching this one alone in the dark than I would watching Scream alone in the dark on a rewatch. I think this one would still get me, but the fact that I was watching it on Zoom and I was like meant to take notes, I was like half focused on the movie, half focused on my notes. But I do think like if I sat down and watched it in the dark by myself, like it would still hit me, and I would probably be like looking in my darker corners. But this opening, really, man, this opening, I think even on this rewatch, kind of it still sent chills up my spine and
Yeah.
really held up for me.
And it's weird, right? Because there's no action in it. There's no like chase scene. It's just like creepy, but it does it well.
Yeah. Unlike Scary Movie 3, there's no actual pillow fight. There's no like, oh, you whore, you're a whore, you're a slut.
She does hit her
Um,
with a pillow once, which I was
mm.
like, oh, right, that's where Scary Movie.
There is no Pamela Anderson though, but it's still like really creepy because it's these two girls. They're just kind of chilling out. It's not anything too Y2K or anything too
Yeah,
dated, right?
just
Like
like two friends.
it feels very anytime.
Yeah.
And when they
You
start
you love
talking,
a not dated. You
oh, I
love
love a
that.
not dated. If something is too dated, it really like gets under my skin. I really don't like it. But when they start talking about this videotape in the 7 days and like the look on when Amber Tamlin's face just drops, she sells it. She fucking
Yeah.
sells it for me. I'm like, oh, I don't even want to watch the rest of the movie.
And you know what? I don't know that I realized this before. I didn't realize Amber Tamblyn was like patient zero. Well, like her friend group were like patient zero for the tape, right?
Are they? That wasn't clear to me. So I was trying to. The plot does get a little weird for me. Trying to follow all the threads to it. Is
The
that
like
what's happening
timeline.
here? Is they
I th-
are?
I could be wrong, but like this is the first time
Okay.
I ever was like, wait a minute, because it's like the girl says that she heard. So that's what throws me off is the fact that her friend Becca tells Katie, I heard, and Katie
Yeah.
is the one that watched it. So how did Becca hear about it? But like, I think it's the first time. I think it's supposed to be like, that is the tape because they
Okay.
said, because they, where did I looked up, I was looking up shit. And it said that like, that's the Samara, the thing that she can do is burn things in images, right? That's how she puts the tree in the barn, which I
Yeah.
don't understand how the tree in the barn got there if she died after she saw the tree. Like she would have seen the tree and died,
Magic.
not back to yeah, sure. And that's how because what did they call them? Now I'm looking at my notes. I feel like a
Oh my
watcher. I'm like
goodness.
got my two
You're getting
computers.
more of this lore than I am, though. I just got the basic plot point of the basic story.
So wait, so her powers. Shit, no, I can't find it in my notes.
It's hard for me to
Oh,
disconnect this one from the lore that they try to build in the other ones. So the other lore and the other two kind of seep in a little bit here,
I've never
which fucks me up.
seen. I've wait. Is Rings the sequel? Rings is the sequel, right?
Yeah, and they create a whole bunch of like other mythology to it, and it just like messes with my memory for just this one. So
I
you tell
don't.
me.
I don't like that one. And I
Yeah.
never saw the other one. But so wait, so the when he's looking when he goes to the when he breaks into that place and looks at her files, it says because I had to look that up. I was like, wait, I don't know what that is. Thermography sessions. Thermography is like a basically, when the predator has heat vision, that's basically what that is. So
Huh.
that's why it makes no sense that the images like that should be her brain, but the images all come out as like the fucking rocking horse and the tree. And it's because Samara's psychic abilities are known as Nensha, which is a form of spirit photography that enables someone to burn images from their mind onto any solid surface by thinking about it, explaining why her adopted parents suffered nightmares and bad visions. This is also how she burned her images onto the videotape Katie and her friends used to copy a sports game on TV.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm happy about. Long pause for the audience. I was trying to process. I'm not the smartest. I'm glad that is only like really listed in files and like very like if
Because it
you're going
doesn't
to
matter.
deep
Yeah.
dive into the movie, then that's good that we have like an explanation if you want it. Because it is a lot. That's X-Men shit.
Yeah.
So I could buy them as like Group Zero then.
But right, that's the only thing that made me think because it is like that was the tape that they brought and it got put on air. So like
Yeah.
it wasn't like they found this tape. You know what I mean? Like that's the only reason they make. But I don't remember. Do they say that in the movie? They might have.
I don't know if they do, but it just then why does Becca know about it? Why did the other friends who haven't seen it know about it? If
Yeah.
this is something that's kind of like it's almost like a Slender Man thing, right? If we're gonna bring it into modern
Right.
age,
Yeah.
it's like Slender Man is just passed around, but like a lot of people don't even know what the origins of Slender Man would have been.
But also I was trying to figure out the parents' age because that's what always threw me when I used to watch this before. Like, when did she get thrown in that well? Like,
Yeah.
because he's older, but it's not like he's like 100.
What was 1978? What was that year that they were talking about? What happened during that year? Because they mentioned 1978 and that stuck out to me, but I wasn't sure what was happening in 1978.
Was that when they gave birth? Was that not how much they adopted her, right? Or no,
Is
she
that
did
when?
give birth. Did the mom give birth to her? Or did they adopt?
Guys, this is bad recording. We're doing about horrible with our facts.
We just watched the movie. I promise. It's just
No,
a lot
okay.
of like.
I think dates are that do not matter here. We're going to say this is a timeless universe where there are no dates.
But
There's
also
only
the movie's
7
from like
days.
2002, so like
Yeah,
it
it's
was
okay.
a while ago.
It is completely fine. But no. So we have this opening where these girls are in this house, and Katie is obviously like super freaked out. Becca's kind of just poking fun at her. There's so many. This scene really brings the tension and tells you what the tone of the rest of the movie is going to be. Like this whole movie is bathed in this like green tint that makes it look sickly and like it's kind of like dying on its own.
Or like a
It's almost
hospital
like
almost.
like it's been thrown down a well, perhaps. I don't know. And Katie's experiencing these weird things because this is her 7th day. This is her 7th day, so she's on edge. She's getting phone calls, from her mother. That would put me on edge too. No, but when the TV starts going out, that's what like freaked me out, right? Like because it's in such quiet, and like you just hear the shh. Like TVs in film are sinister and perfectly so.
For me, like I actually put that in my notes a lot. Like the fact that they don't, especially in that opening, music when there's a little bit of music for the building tension, it's very quiet, and I think that 100% works to its advantage of creepiness. So the fact that there's like when you hear that shh, that's not really a loud noise, but because there's no other like music or sound, it feels so loud and like almost makes you feel kind of claustrophobic because it's like she can't like escape the sound of this fucking TV.
Yeah, because even if she turns it off, comes right back on. If she unplugs it, like I love this the moment where she turns it off, she turns around and it turns it back on, and we can see it in the reflection, right? We can see it in the reflection of these like windows that are in her living room, and she goes up to it. And the shot where she goes up to it and she's like face to face with the TV for like a couple seconds before she unplugs it. Oh, it just gets me like every time. Like I could jizz my pants out of fear. So
Jizz your
scared I jizz my
pants.
pants.
All right, sure.
I have different reactions to everybody else. It's okay.
You might want to get that looked at.
It's just so fucking good. And then like the climax of this scene where she, goes upstairs and everything's like wet and she opens the door. That is so abrupt. And like it just like ends so abruptly that it's just so jarring and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
And it's so good. Like in my head, I was like, wait, is she gonna find her friends? I thought she dies, but like, because I thought like she was going up to open the closet door to see the face, but like that's later, because it had been a while since I saw this movie, and I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird, right? Because you don't see it, you don't see the thing happen, but it's still fucking creepy, right?
It is arguably the most uncomfortable part of the movie. It has to be. And then we kind of get into our story and we have Rachel and Aiden. Rachel as a mom, she's not the most traditionally maternal. I remember when I was younger, like not being sure if Aiden was her like son or something, because he like calls her Rachel, and and Noah's his dad, but like they have no relationship. And
Wait, I need to point out that like you like casually mentioned this when we were watching it. I thought Zach was talking about Noah, the like ex. I was like, you thought that man was her son? How would that work?
It's ages. If you're gonna have a 50-year-old woman, you cast it with a 28-year-old, don't you?
Yeah. He's just like a rugged 18-year-old.
What do you think of these characters though? Like our main characters, and especially Rachel.
I like. So a thing I like in horror movies that like a lot of like older ones didn't do is like, I don't know, there would have been some like punishment for like being a like mom who isn't married to the dad, and like they're just like ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend, but like they're cool, right? Like they're like they're not really co-parenting because he's not really doing much dad stuff, but like clearly she's not like mad at him, like she doesn't want him in the kid's life that much, I guess. So I kind of like when a horror movie gives us a non-traditional, and that's not like a plot point that like, ooh, look, they're not your like typical what, it's just like, yeah, they're not typical. Also there's the horror stuff.
And it's not really going to play into the larger story. I guess it does in terms of just, knowing relationships and understanding who these people are and their backstories. Because like Noah doesn't have anything to do with Aiden. He's kind of just there, but like Aiden knows about him, and Rachel's had this conversation like, this is your dad if you run into him on the street. Like he does. It's like, this is your daddy. And Rachel almost is like I said, she's not a non-traditional mother. She doesn't really, it's like her and Noah are both like, we have this kid, what do we do with this kid? We got to keep it alive. And Noah's like, I can't do this, I gotta go. And Rachel's like, I guess I could like keep you alive. Here's a bus token, here's the number to the Chinese place down the street if you're hungry. But Aiden is like this little boy. He's basically taking care of himself and his mom, right? Like he lays her clothes out for the funeral, and like really Rachel is raising Aiden to be his own independent person at 7 years old.
However, and like she even says that to the teacher, right? She says to the teacher like, oh well, he like doesn't need this, and the teacher's like, but he's drawing these pictures of her dead, and she's like, he's just expressing himself, he's fine. Like,
no, he does it while he smokes his cigarettes in the afternoon. Sometimes he's just got to unwind, He
gets his vodka on ice and has some art sessions.
And I love this. I love their dynamic together, because I totally buy them as like this mother-son who are both kind of looking at each other like, what the fuck are you? What do I do with it? And it carries over into like the second one as well.
Well, I mean, Naomi Watts is a very good actor. She just like at this time wasn't like famous when she did this movie.
How famous was she? Because I guess I've never been like I follow a lot of celebrities, but I don't think Naomi Watts is one of those. I've like tracked her career, so I don't even know how famous she was at this point. Really,
this point, no, it was like I think it was like, oh, I know her from this one thing, but that was it.
Well, then I have
I
to
don't.
imagine like this led into other things like King Kong and all the
Yeah.
bigger projects that she's going to do like right after this. Um, so I always think the family things are really interesting with this story because we have, and I didn't notice it as much on other watches as I did this time, trying to think a little bit more critically with it. And so this whole thing is kind of about parenting and like
Yeah.
how they do it. Like Noah and Rachel are parenting this, or Rachel's parenting this
Right.
kid,
Right.
but and she's kind of doing it in the same way that the Morgans do it with Samara, in that they're similar and different. So that she's doing it in the same way that they're doing it, as like they're kind of just like Aiden's a little bit isolated, just like Samara was a little bit isolated. And I think the difference here is, and they both have like abilities, right? Like think so. Aiden is supposed to have these abilities, correct?
I
He
think
even looks a
so.
little bit like Samara, I thought, at certain
Yeah,
times.
he does.
And while the Morgans couldn't handle Samara's abilities, I mean, understandably so. Samara's literally from the fucking
Evil.
devil's
Yeah.
spawn.
Devil's butthole.
Like Rachel's not really freaked out by Aiden's abilities. Like she kind of like accepts them as they are and just kind of leaves him to do his own thing. But when Aiden does watch this videotape later on, Rachel is like horrified. She like her mothering instincts come in at that moment and she's like, I have to save my son. This is like, there's even the moment where like right after Aiden watches it, Noah calls and she's like, he watched the tape, and Noah's like, who? And she says, our son. And that's like the first time she says our son.
Yeah.
Well, with Samara's evil powers, they just kill her and like put her in the barn and then kill her.
I almost think it enhances the watch. Like, of course, the first nothing beats the first watch of this movie.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think on like, us watching it now, it's like it almost enhances it being like, fuck, she's on the wrong track completely. And like seeing Brian Cox kill himself is more like sad because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, fuck, this like man had this evil adopted child who like tortured him and his wife. His
Yeah.
wife killed herself. All of his horses died because of this evil child. And he realizes she's never going to stop. So he just fucking kills himself. And like, the first watch, you see him as this like evil dad, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it throws you for a loop that it's like, oh, you think he's going to be the villain, but then he just kills himself. And you're like, huh. But you think he's killing himself because like he feels bad, but like, no, everything he says is true. Like, she's
And
not
there's
going to
like
stop.
no way out of it. Like he's
Yeah.
tangled in this web, and really, like you try to explain that, hey, my daughter is the devil to other people, they're gonna be like, you are a fucking horrible, and I
Yeah.
would too. I'd be like, you're a horrible daddy. What's wrong with you? You locked her in the barn. Be like, you don't get it. Like I had these creepy shits in my head all night long. She was showing me like people sitting on the toilet having the runs, like whatever my horror story would be in my head
And
that she
getting
would show
stabbed.
me. Stabbed, whatever you can think of that's horrifying, she's showing you
Ghostface
that.
attacking you as you're having diarrhea.
And that's what she's showing. Yeah, and she like doesn't sleep, which by the way, I relate so much to Samara. I don't sleep either. She never sleeps, me neither. Okay, you're not that special, girl.
Zach will not text me back for a day, but then I'll get like 8 texts at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Just getting up and stretching.
Well, I just gotta mention that. So like the kid Aiden goes up to his cousin's room after the funeral,
Yeah.
and it reminded me of the story that I've told before about my nephew, but it did make me think of
Mm.
that when I found my nephew staring at the wall in my grandma's room where she died.
Yeah, and he was saying, refresh us, just briefly.
So I like it was on Thanksgiving. I found it was the first Thanksgiving after my grandma died. I found him in her room with the lights off, staring at the wall. And I was like immediately terrified and was like, William, just come here, because I didn't want to go in the room because I was scared. So eventually I just went in the room and like grabbed him, and he was like very hot and just started crying.
Mm.
Didn't say anything but cry until I got him downstairs. And my sister-in-law asked him what happened, and he said, great grandma.
Yeah. Ugh.
So,
It's and you get that feeling from this too, is like when he's walking into her room, when he's walking up to her room, we're getting flashes. So like he's seeing this, he's kind of like already knowing what happened, and then he goes into her room, and it does feel like that. It feels like this empty space that something is lurking in, you know. I didn't really understand that part. So like if you look into like the black TV screen, the black mirror of a TV screen in the back, like the background kind of ripples like somebody's going by. I didn't understand that.
I think it has something to do with the fact how their faces get like bleh when they're on
Maybe.
like video. And it's kind of like she almost like inhabits the TV. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, it could be. Maybe she controls the black mirror, I guess. I don't know. And then the mom is the one who kind of, or Katie's mom is the one who kind of like gets Rachel to go on this journey and like figure out what happens. Like Rachel's a true crime girl, by the way, and I love that.
You do.
But I
You love a
really,
true crime.
I do love a true crime, and I like Rachel being into true crime. Um,
I wait. I
okay.
gotta point out. So like the first time I saw this movie, I missed that opening, which is wild that I missed that
Hmm.
opening the first time. I was like, we were very late. We walked in as Rachel's at the funeral, and so when Katie's mom is like, "I found her," and they cut that scene of her opening. So we literally were like, it's a packed theater. We're walking in front of people. And my friend screamed. We're standing up, walking, like going through the aisle to find seats. And my friend screamed because a face appeared on the screen. And we were like, okay, come on, we got to keep going.
It is
And that's
so
what I
funny.
always like. It like kind of makes me laugh when I see that, just because I imagine my friend screaming standing up at a movie
Well,
theater.
understandably, it's fucking terrifying like that to be your first image in the fucking movie. Of course, of course. So her mom found her like that, and her mom wants some fucking answers, right? I almost thought it would have been cool to see like a sister team up, like her mom joined this kind of
Yeah, yeah.
investigation to figure out what happened to her daughter. Um, but we don't get that, and Katie kind of sets us off on our journey because this happened. But you know what I found really fucked up is that because Rachel is this type who sits at her desk and like doesn't do anything, and then the boss comes up and is like, "You're fired," and she's like, "No, I'm not," and she says it like 3 times and like basically dismisses the boss. She's like, "I've got this good story." So she was gonna write a story about her niece's murder. She was gonna like exploit that
Well, I think it was more like she was gonna like find out. Like,
and write a story about it.
yeah, I okay, wait. It's not you sometimes as a writer, you write things, you write what you know. So like, I wrote a story about my friend dying.
If I was murdered, you better not write no fucking story about that and exploit
But
that.
they said she wasn't murdered. That was like because it was like ruled a suicide or whatever. All their deaths
Okay.
were ruled, but like clearly it wasn't a suicide because how do you make yourself
Hmm. I wonder if she ever
look.
wrote that story. I guess she didn't. In the second one, it doesn't mention it, but I don't know if she was going after a story about this evil videotape killing everybody. It's like, questionable there, questionable.
Also,
Um,
I need to point out Adam Brody plays a friend,
oh yeah, just like
handsome Adam
very
Brody.
briefly.
Yep. But I did look up the OC came out the following year. So I guess he like
Hmm.
wasn't
He was
yeah.
almost there though, but we get like
Yeah.
a first, like a quick glimpse of him,
Yeah.
because all the friends, like all her friends, literally know about this videotape, and like her boyfriend had died also, like on the same day her boyfriend had died. So I want to know about like everybody else in. Was it only those two
No,
that
because she
watched
looks
the
up the
tape?
no, she looks up the other all four of them died. All four of the
Okay,
friends that were
okay,
there,
okay.
and they all died at 10 p.m. because she looks it up on the in like whatever.
Hmm.
But you would think everyone would be a little bit like, wait a minute.
Oh, but I
That's
feel it. I
weird.
feel like the spookiness of that is like you want to sit with everybody because you're too scared. You know, you don't want to be by yourself. But then you're all gonna die. It's just all gonna happen anyway. So you're nobody's safe. The tape.
There also was a plot line cut out of the movie that like
Fill me in. Fill me
started and
in.
ended. So when this movie came out, I was so obsessed with it. I looked up like everything. I had to look up what the name was. I forget who the actor was. I put it on I like screenshot my notes. God, what the hell is his name? The actor Chris Cooper was
Mm.
in it originally. Um, he played like a rapist murderer that she was investigating. Like she was doing a case on him, and apparently he was a guy she interviews, and he says he found God, so he shouldn't go to jail, like shouldn't get like go to jail or whatever. And then at the end, that's who they drop the tape off to is like him because he's like a rapist murderer.
I don't think I would have been mad at that plot.
Yeah,
I'd
I
been
mean, we
kind of
didn't
into
really
it.
need it, but I would have.
Didn't really need it. It's already like an almost 2 hour movie. It's like I think a couple minutes off of 2 hours.
I will say
So
on this watch, I was like, there's a little bit they could have cut out here.
I was okay with all of it. I was like, it didn't feel like a 2 hour movie to me this time. The ferry scene is another one that really gets me in this when Rachel's out going to this, what island is it? Some island, whatever. The island that Samara lived on. Because there's a lot of horse.
Midnight Mass Island.
It did. There's a Midnight Mass. We got some Midnight Mass prequel here. That's what is going on in this town. But like I hate animal horror where when they kill the animal for some shock value or something like that. So when the horse like gets loose and like jumps over the ferry and it's bloody, I had to look down the entire time. Like I couldn't watch it, but because it really gets under my skin. It's like it's too much for me.
It's like such a short scene, but when she goes to wherever that other place is to like investigate the video, I don't remember what it is, but it's like that other place where the woman's like, here, this is how you do it. And she's like, that's when she finds the lighthouse in it, while she moves like the tracking or whatever. I always think of that. I always think of that scene with like, when she's like, what is this? And it's the fly, and she like pulls it out of the screen. And the image of the other woman coming in and being like, oh, are you okay? Do you need help? And her just like in a fucking daze, like what? And her nose bleeding and the fly flying away. I think that's such a good, like,
because it's so weird. It's such like a weird like blending of reality and this technology. It's supposed to be like in the videotape, right? Like this is not supposed to be in reality. I think that's one of the most creepy parts of it, is that all of this is like kind of blending. Technology is a major killer in this one, man. I noticed because a big part of Samara's backstory, right, is that she was having these visions. So she was driving her mother crazy. So her dad built like a bedroom for her up in the barn and stuck her up there and put a TV up there. And like even Noah says like, well, she wasn't entirely alone, referencing the TV. Like that's all she had. Yeah. She was isolated with the TV. So like technology is like a big part of Samara's whole background. That's why she creates a videotape. That's why like I think her dad kills himself with all of this technology, and then that's I don't know, Samara's like, I enjoy her. She's a little film student, she's getting creative with her little kills and she's got 7 days to spook you, she's going to pull some digital trickery.
You hate a TikTok, but a VHS tape is okay.
I am a millennial. Okay. Makes more sense to me than a TikTok.
Are you even a millennial?
But no, I love it. I love the little, I think it gets really hokey in the later ones when they're like, I don't know, they have a whole fucking, what was it? The big video lab where they're like churning out these tapes like nothing.
I just remember not liking the second one, and then I never saw the other one. So
yeah, okay. Well, like they like are mass producing these tapes and like putting them on YouTube and shit like that. I don't like when it gets all into that. I guess somebody could make a TikTok out of it. I wonder if anybody has. If this is like TikTok-ified. Does Samara have a TikTok? Does she have a TikTok? Hey guys, your curse now 7 days. Like and subscribe.
If you get someone else to subscribe, then you're not cursed.
Ooh, guys, let's get up to 1 million. Come on, guys, by the end of the year. It's a good strategy. It's a good marketing strategy.
Like, Zach, you and Alistair need to subscribe to this channel real quick.
I know. I'm like, shit. I don't even have any friends. Who do I get to subscribe to this to save my own life? No fucking idea, man. No fucking idea. The ending where they're trying to figure out, like, I guess they go back to cabin 12, right? And they find the well underneath the cabin, and it's her and Noah teamed up to save their son, and she gets knocked into the well.
Yeah, I love that image of, like, Noah has run out.
Yeah.
The thing is closing, and she's just yelling, and I love the silence of the well closing and the TV with the shh. Like, yeah. I just think that's such a good like image for the movie.
The visuals in this are fantastic. Like
the cinematography shots, is like
excellent.
Next level. Yeah,
excellent. Even did you notice the like horse eye on the ferry scene, right, where it's closed up on the horse's eye for a second? Like that one really got me too. I thought that one was really good.
Oh yeah, and that's like yeah. So like Fight Club, this movie has apparently like at a lot of points throughout it has clips from the movie just like interspersed. I only noticed a few, but apparently it's like, and they apparently after Brian Cox's character kills himself, they flash the whole tape for like a second. The like whole tape plays, but it's like a second. Yeah, it's like sped up.
What is that called? Subliminal imagery, right?
Yeah.
It's like whose face was that in Fight Club? That was Brad Pitt's face, right? Just
and the dick at the end.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. I haven't
I
seen
thought
Fight
I,
Club in a good minute.
I thought I had figured it out when I was like, look, if you pause the VHS right here, you can see Brad Pitt.
Um, oh my gosh, Ian, such a fag.
Yeah.
Two forgets. No, but this ending, so like Rachel goes down the well and like figures it out, right? She figures out, she sees everything that really happened. It was her mother that killed Samara and everything. Um, and then this is like our fake out ending, and I think it really worked as a. It could have closed it out, like it could have done something. I love a bleaker ending. I hate a love trumps everything. Love is the
I
power ending.
okay, counterpoint.
Hmm.
I hate a bleak ending, actually. I don't think they're usually earned. I love this bleak ending. Like I think it
Yeah.
fucking works. It's earned and like it's bleak, but it's not because I think the reason bleak endings bother me because then it's like, all right, then so what? Like, but this it's like, all right, but she still saved her son, right? Like her
Yeah.
son didn't die. She figured it out, actually figured it out after she thought
Yeah.
she figured it out, and does save her son. So like it's still bleak, but it's like, okay, it's not like they're not all dead. Because when
Because
that happens, I often feel like, well, then why did I watch this?
yeah, and it's that hope, right? Like, I mean, she's probably seen horror movies throughout her life, right? Like, we are just people who have seen these movies and like understand that like there's always something to figure out that you can get out of this, right? There's a way to get out of this, and so that's her big hope is that she's got that hope that she can figure this out. She can figure out the mystery, and save everybody. Um, And the bleaker ending is that no, you can't because Samara's just a little devil child and who just likes to kill sometimes. Just gets a little thrill out of the kill. It's just what she wants to do. Let her do what she wants to do.
I think like I remember seeing this in theaters and thinking, oh, that was stupid. Like when
Mm,
I thought the ending was, oh, they got her out of the well and it's all fine. Like I remember being like, well, why'd she kill all those people? Like this is stupid.
yeah,
Like I remember being annoyed, like, oh, this is a lame ending. And then it was like, oh shit, this is not the ending. We
yeah.
still got like 20 more minutes left, and that guy's gonna fucking die.
And the
Um,
point really is that the only thing Rachel figured out was how to kind of save herself and save her kid.
yeah, yeah.
That's it. And like everybody else is fucked. So we'll talk about Noah's death really quick. So Noah's big death because he didn't make a copy of the tape. He never showed it to anybody. So Noah dies. This was the scene we were all like sunk into the fucking couch, like on every cushion we could get, covering ourselves. Um, and it looks a little hokey. It looks a
It
little
does.
hokey on a rewatch, right? But it's fucking like, oh, and it's broad daylight. Like it's during the day. He's working. He's just doing his thing. And the TV just fucking comes on because it's his time and comes crawling
Cindy,
out.
the
And
TV's leaking.
that's what I thought of too. It's like, Scary Movie 3 really has a hold on this one. It has a hold. But it fucking works. And it's still like, were you creeped out still?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
looked. I like did my little like the TV's here, and I was like, I don't want to be. So I thought about it, and there's like a very specific thing that only works sometimes in horror, and that's like the monster or the killer or whatever getting closer and closer to like where it's extremely in your face.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like this is stupid, but here it fucking works. And the only other time I could think of 100% that it does scare me, and I don't know if this works for you, in it when Pennywise comes out of the screen that they're watching and he's just screaming, but it's like this close to his face. That like when I saw that in theaters, I literally had to look down because it's like I don't know why it's the close-ups that like I'm like this is too close.
Yeah, it rattles you a little bit, doesn't it? So I was wondering, like, do you just like if you don't look at her, if you look away, would he have been fine? Can you be
Right? Like I'm
fine
not
looking
looking.
away? If there's a loophole, there has to be other ones.
I don't think looking away is a loophole. I
And
think
she's
it's like
just
if
gonna be
you
behind you for the rest of your life. It's gonna be like Danny in Blind Manor. You know how she sees him in the reflection sometimes. Maybe she saw like Samara one day, and she's like trying to
I think it's like almost the
make.
same rules as in The Grudge. How like
Okay,
no matter where you go, what you do, like is gonna fucking get you.
whatever. They
Like if
all
he closed his
love.
eyes,
Yeah.
she would still kill him because he wouldn't see her.
American cinema loves a long-haired, girl in a little white dress, right?
I think this started it. I really do.
Of course it did. Of course it did. But like also a lot of the Japanese cinema was doing that. So it's
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
they loved it too. This scene was really fucking good though. But when Rachel comes up and finds his body and we like don't, I thought we saw his
Me
face.
too. Me too.
Do we not? Is there a cut where maybe we've seen that
Oh
one
wait.
time?
Oh, you missed it at the end. We don't see it until when she's making him make the tape. We see the flash of his face.
Oh, I might have missed that then. Okay, okay.
Because I thought we did. I thought she turns him around and we see it, but no, it's when she's making him like press the buttons. We
Yeah,
see the tape and then we see a flash of his face.
yeah. Fucking hell, man. Fucking hell. But like Rachel's fingerprints are all over that apartment. It looks like Rachel just like killed
Killed him.
her ex, and there's motive. There's motive. He never helped. He never paid child support. You know, like, and then she's like on the way down the stairs, and his poor girlfriend is gonna go up and see it.
She's
too.
like,
She doesn't. She just
Rachel's like, stay blessed.
Good for you, girl. Stay blessed. Live, laugh, love. You know. But like, yeah, the whole movie just sums up. It's bleak. It's very bleak. It's just like, hey, I know how to save my son. We're going to make the tape, and Aiden's even like, so the next person who watches it, who are they gonna die? And you got to keep in mind, it's like 3 days that they have to pick a person to do this, right? Like,
That's why I wouldn't have been mad if they had kept that other plot in, because like that is like well, we know who she's gonna give it to. Like,
I even
this,
like
like,
it darker
rapist.
than that, though. I like it dark as far as like, we don't know who she's gonna pick, and she might even just have to pick. She's looking across at all her neighbors at one point, right? And just watching their lives, and they're all watching TV. It could be one of them, too. She could remember them at this moment, So we don't fucking know who she's going to be. How petty is Rachel going to get, Which Starbucks barista gave her the wrong order the other week?
Yeah, you pissed me off too much, Zachary. I'm gonna send you the fucking tape.
I love the second one where in the beginning where he's like getting his girlfriend to watch it, and like he comes back in the room and she's like, I couldn't look, I didn't want to do it. She's like covering her eyes. Perfect. But yeah, this was The Ring. We'll have to cover the second one. I know you don't like it, but I love some Sissy Spacek. I love it. I love Aiden and Rachel together. It works.
God,
for
is
me.
Sissy Spacek in that? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah, Sissy motherfucking Spacek.
I just remember this. You were just like, I'm not your fucking mother. I mean, like, ugh.
I'm not your fucking mommy. Yeah, it is. The plot's awful. The plot's awful, guys. It's not. I will not even defend the plot at all. But I like the characters in it. Let me go through my notes real quick. Rachel screaming at Aiden to go to his room, and the shared like don't know what the fuck is happening on his face. The actor was not prepared for that. He did not know she was going to do that. He ran his little ass to his trailer.
And we got to talk about the fact that the like chills, the start of the chills for me was when he sits up in bed and he's like, you helped her? Why did you help her?
Yes.
And he gets the nosebleed. So good.
Let's take a second to do that. And that comes right before Noah too, right? So like that was fucking crazy. But like also tell your mom that maybe before.
Right, like
she's trying to figure this out. Use
a
your little
little bit
witchy
more
bruja
specific.
powers to like like let her know of some stuff.
Like she was in the barn, but also she's an evil devil. So like, don't go in the barn because
And he's sidekick. Where do you think your mother is going? She's going to Samara's island. She's going to go figure out the mystery. Just tell her before you get dropped off, on Susie's house that we're not supposed to help her, Mom. No, Mom. No, Mom. We don't help her. We don't. That's the devil. That's the devil.
I can tell you the whole story when you get back, Mom, but don't go to the island. Like,
watch out for horses.
what's that accent?
I don't know. They're on New Jersey. Yeah.
So, that's your Jersey accent, dickhead.
That's how I hear you say.
When I worked at New School in the admissions office, this might be something everyone knows. I learned there was an island called Cutty Hunk Island. I'd never heard of it before. I thought this woman was lying to me. I literally, like, after I got off the phone with her, I Googled it because I was positive this mother was lying because granted, this was 2009. So it was, like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And the mom was like, we don't have internet on our island yet. And I was like, everyone has internet. And because we didn't send out packets anymore at the school, like that was just like part of our thing. You had to do it all online. And she was like, but we don't have the internet except for like, I have to drive onto the mainland and it's such a pain. Can you just send it to me? And I was like, where do you live? And she told me, she was like on Cutty Hunk Island. And I was like, I've never fucking heard of this. But like, I was just like, I don't even know what she like. Is she lying? Like, what is this? And then I Googled it and it literally was, I forget. I think it's off Rhode Island, but I now always think of that island as the island from The Ring. Because when I looked it up, I found out that they did not have internet yet. And it was like an island off of a state, which
You
is
were
so
at the
weird.
beginning of a plot point for your own horror movie there, and you
Right.
dodged it somehow. There was some point during that story
Because I was
that you
nice to the
dodged
lady.
the rest of it, okay? Because you almost ended up on the island.
I put together a packet for this mother. I wrote her a nice note and I sent it out to her. So I guess
It,
that's why I avoided it. If I was
you
me,
could have
then
just
maybe I
said,
would have
no,
got it.
I'll only do it through the internet. And then you're fucking dead, man. You know? Do good deeds, guys. The lesson of this whole episode. Do good deeds and you avoid your horror movie, right?
But so like I remember after I looked that up, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's what they based the island, but like it had nothing to do. Like there was no connection, but that's what I thought of immediately was like islands like that don't exist, but then also we got it in Midnight Mass. So I guess maybe they do still kind of exist.
Brownwood, fucking Texas doesn't have internet either, hardly. They have internet, but like every time I go to Brownwood, Texas, unless I'm at my mom's house, I have no service anywhere. You know, nothing. I won't get any
That's
messages.
true.
No
You
calls,
do always say
nothing.
you don't get texts and stuff. Yeah.
It's if I'm there, I'll warn people. I'm going to Brownwood. It's just like you can reach out to me, and I'll get back to you when I can. But I think we can close out this one where we're gonna do a little scene. We're gonna do a little scene here, okay? I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna be Samara, and I want your reaction, okay? Ring ring.
Oh, can't they just text me? I guess I'll answer. Hello.
7 days.
Fuck off.
There you go. You're still gonna die. Like I mean, you didn't avoid anything. Okay, now you're gonna do it to me.
I was gonna try to do a Naomi Watts scream, but I can't scream. I'm like bad at
Oh
screaming.
my gosh, what does she say? Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try it. Let me lower the microphone.
I
Okay.
was gonna say lower that volume. Okay, I'm Samara. I gotta dial this number. Ring ring. Let me dial it again. Ring ring.
Leave him alone. Whatever accent that was that she had, her accent came out. It was a very,
She's
very.
Australian. Yeah, she's from Australia.
I heard it. I heard it. Almost an H2O accent. Emma, the condensation. Have
That's
you
like
seen that TikTok?
I have not. No.
It's fucking hilarious. I have to show it to you.
The Mike Flanagan horror movie that Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula, is in, because she's British. Her accent comes in and out that entire movie. Like, because there's,
Oh,
and I
really?
guess, I wonder if it's harder to do when you're like screaming and like, feigning
I would
terror.
imagine. Yeah.
Because I guess
I
that's
mean,
like, how do you do that with an accent?
and Naomi Watts, like she has had plenty of time since then to like perfect that, right? Scream without accent, like yes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Next week we are going to be doing crawl. So, and that's for sure because we got a schedule now. We got a schedule, so you're going to be hearing crawl. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you liked this episode, and we'll see you in 7 days. Wow. We will. Amazing. Perfect. You see how that works out.
I was like, ooh, is he going to land this? Because that's what he should say. And then you said it. I'm proud of you.
There we go. Bye, guys.
Bye.